Hello, I hope you are all doing well. My name is Jacqueline. I want to start off by introducing myself and telling you a little bit about me. So, I graduated from University of Houston downtown December 18 with my bachelor's of social work. And I've always wanted to be a school social worker. So, I decided to go back to school. In August, I began my the advanced program at Baylor University. And I was positioned at Communities and Schools, which is CIS. So I was working there from August to mid March. And the reason why, because of COVID-19. So when I was there, I had the opportunity to work with students and staff. I worked with parents, students, and school staff to identify the needs that interfere with the student's academic. I referred students to seek mental health. I conducted a caseload of 30 students, and I assisted students with mental health concerns, behavior concerns, positive behavior support, social skills support, and academic and classroom support. I also provided individual and group therapy. I had the opportunity to gather 20 students and to take them to Navidad en el Barrio. So when they went to Navidad en el Barrio, they received Christmas presents and food. Also coordinated a career day event, and I brought a variety of speakers with a diverse background to educate students about different careers. It was actually the first time that Cooper Elementary ever had a career day event, so staff and students were very happy about it. I also conducted a food drive where students were able to take a box of canned food and a turkey for the Thanksgiving break. After I graduated from Baylor University, I would like to become a school social worker. So I've always been interested in working with children and families. So I decided to do my concentration on children and families because while working at CIS, I knew that it was going to help me and it was also going to benefit the population that I was working with while doing all my assignments on my concentration. Also, I know that this will be helpful once I graduate and use all this information when working with children and families. This is today's agenda. We're going to be looking at the overview of the Latino community, description of curanderismo, types of curanderas and curanderos, curanderismo terms, group activity, DSM-5, the National Association Social Work Code of Ethics, treatment and approach in curanderismo, conclusion, and questions and comments. So, the title of my presentation is Spirituality Among Latinos and Understanding the Importance of Curanderismo. This presentation encourages cultural awareness around the practice of curanderismo with the Latino communities. The learning objectives. First, attendees will be able to learn about the cultural practice of curanderismo. Participants will be able to gain knowledge about the holistic approach of curanderismo. Professionals will be able to gain knowledge and skills regarding the practice of curanderismo. And lastly, by learning about this alternative form of medicine, professionals will be able to work with clients who believe in the practice of curanderismo. An overview of the Latino community. As of 2018, there is an estimate of 60 million Hispanics living in the United States, which is an 18% of the overall population. In 2017, Houston was one of the top 10 cities who had a large population of Hispanics, which was more than 2 million individuals. About a third of Latinos who use a public hospital in the United States have been to a curandero sometime in their life. Curanderismo plays a major part in the culture of the Latino community. These beliefs pass down from generations to generations. Another reason why Latinos seek curanderismo is due to stigma in receiving health mental services. So in the Latino culture, if you seek mental health services, you're considered to be local. So that means crazy. And other people in your community will label you this. Another reason is Latino demonstrate mental health in various ways. So for example, they will say that they have empacho, that they have mal de ojo, which are certain terms that we will go over in my presentation, and which is a language barrier when the Latino community go and seek mental health services. Curanderismo. Curanderismo is a phrase to the Spanish word curar, intending to heal. Curandero, it's a male healer. Curandera is a female healer. So they both focus especially on traditional healing of mind, energy, and spirit. Curanderos have been given a don de Dios, a gift from God, to heal the sick. They learn the healing art through another curandero or a spiritual manifestation. So basically, it is passed down from, let's say the mom was a curandera, then the child, they would teach the child to be a curandero so they can also practice this when they're older. Rituals and practices are usually passed down through generations of families. So like I have said before, Latino curanderismo, is in the Latino culture, so it is passed down from generations to generations. The history of curanderismo. Well, the two most important influences in curanderismo were the Mayan and Aztec priests. The priests kept gardens and researched the medical properties of thousands of plants. This knowledge has been passed down and influenced the herbal remedies prescribed by curanderos and curanderas. European influx. Spain sent Catholic missionaries, and their influence can be seen in the rituals aspects of prayers and invocation of the saint and the curanderismo. The European also believed in the witchcraft, which influenced the belief that illnesses are often supernatural and the origin. Today, curanderismo is practiced in several Latin American countries as well in the United States. The healing model of curanderismo. It is a holistic approach that includes the physical, mental, spiritual, social, religious, cultural, and natural dimensions when healing the entire individual. Curanderismo, unlike modern biomedicine, does not separate the mind from the body. Its spiritual dimension is recognized and discussed in the treatment. It also addresses the external environment and the individual within the natural world. The healing model continued. Curanderas and curanderos use specific items to heal the individuals. So these include natural materials such as plants, fruits, herbs, and minerals, and animal products. They also use natural resources. For example, holy water, fire, smoke, natural cycles on earth, which is season, months, weeks, and days. They also include the sun and the moon. So for example, the pictures that are right here on the top, there's an egg. So they are using an egg to heal. And then the next one is a lady that is healing someone with smoke. Types of curanderos and curanderos. I will talk about two ways that make these curanderos and curanderos unique from one another. Although they are under the same umbrella of curanderismo, they all practice different areas of healing. These are not all. Some of you may always ask your clients for more clarification. So yerbero. Yerbero is a herbalist, which is someone who practices primarily with herbalism. Yerbero might prescribe herbal remedies for healing. So including teas, they could also make they could also make medicine from herbs. A consejera. or consejero, which is a counselor. It's someone that you could talk to, someone that they can open up to. It's like another therapist. Sobadora or sobador. So sobadora specializes in massages. For example, like if something is hurting, then they do a massage technique to facilitate healing. Partera is a traditional midwife, so they deliver babies. They help women who are hoping to conceive or trying to conceive. They also help with postpartum care. Um, and the spiritista is a physic medium, so they can talk to the dead, they can talk to spirits. A señora or señor. It's a tarot card reader. So it's someone that you can go and talk to, and they'll read the cards in order for you to tell you your future or what you can do to change your future. A huesero, it's a chiropractor. So if you break a bone, they're able to put it back in place. Curanderismo terms. These are some curanderismo terms that you might hear your clients bring up. There's plenty, however, I'm going to talk about the 5 most common terms. So, caída de mollera. This is a term that refers to the fallen fontanelle of an infant's head. It describes a sunken soft spot of the baby's head as a result of an inefficient suckling, falling from a high surface, or because the nipple was quickly pulled rather than gently. It could be also because of a pacifier when and someone takes the pacifier off of a baby's mouth, then because they're sucking on it so hard, it just and you automatically take it off. It can be a result of caída de mollera. Susto or espantos. This term, which means scared in Spanish, it's used to describe an illness that results in soul of loss. So it is believed that this condition may result in mental illness, and it's based on the belief that the soul has left the body because of a traumatic event, and the soul does not feel safe and is scared to return to the physical body. Empacho. So this term refers to an intestinal blockage and is believed to cause by eating something that you do not want to eat, eating spoiled food, eating too much, food getting stuck in the stomach, or swallowing a gum can mean empacho. Some of the symptoms that this might include is stomach ache, bloated, loss of appetite, a hard stomach, nausea, and stomach cramps. Mal de ojo. This term is translated as an illness caused by staring, commonly being referred to an evil eye. This illness is believed to mainly affect babies and is felt to be as a result of adults smiling or paying too much attention to a child. So a way that they can actually treat mal de ojo or mal ojo is by rubbing a baby with an egg, and while they're rubbing the baby with an egg, they say a prayer. Once they're done praying, then they crack the egg. The next one is envidia. It's intense jealousy. So it's an illness which is a person who is envious of another person and becomes ill. So someone who is wishing you the worst. So activity was ordered for 10 minutes. I had planned this activity to use for my presentation. The purpose of this activity is to get people to talk about their understanding of curanderismo. This activity is framed through questions. So first, what are some herbs, foods, or other items that you make feel better when you are feeling sick? So for example, teas, Vicks, any other items that will make you feel better. I know that every individual have their own remedies depending on their culture that have been passed down from generations, and they don't have to be Latinos to have. So, what are some rituals that make you do that will make you feel better? So, how are these things make you feel better? So, for example, it could be like yoga, meditation. What I was trying to pass down, or is it something that is it something new, or is it something that you created within your family? What is it that what are some rituals that you use that make you feel better? Where did you get those beliefs? So is it something that has been passed down? Is it something that you created within your own family? I wanted to engage people in the conversation for the purpose to know about your thought of alternative forms of medicine. So for example, my case, what are some herbs or foods or other items that make you feel better when you're feeling sick? So for example, a lot of Latinos wear Vicks. They wear Vicks for everything. So if you have a cough, if you feel sick, you will rub Vicks on your chest, some on the bottom of your feet, behind the knee. So um, this item makes us feel better. What are some rituals that you do to make you feel better, and how do these things make you feel better? So for example, um, babies use, in the Latino culture, babies use a red bracelet with a little circle, which is an eye of a deer. So this bracelet helps infants not to get mal de ojo or for any other illnesses. Also, another example could be a lot of Latinos wear bracelets, and it could be about anything. It could be God, it could be um, saints. So, for example, I have one myself and having it for a couple of years already. And basically, is that it's protecting you the whole time. Where did you get those beliefs from? So they have passed down from generation to generation. And DSM-5. So some of the Curanderismo terms have been recognized by DSM-5, and there are under the cultural bound syndromes. So they don't include all of them, but they include some. For example, ataque de nervios, bilis, mal de ojo, nervios, and susto. So what is a cultural bound syndrome? Cultural syndromes are groups of symptoms and attributions that tend to co-occur with individuals in specific cultural groups, communities, or contexts, and that are recognized locally as a coherent patterns of experience. These are some terms Curanderismo have used, and they are listed on the DSM-5 for cultural considerations. A culturally competent practitioner would recognize individuals would not actually talk about these terms or these syndromes, because instead they sometimes explain the symptoms. And DSM-5 does a great job at explaining the symptoms as well. So, however, if you don't understand a client, you can ask for more. You can ask more about it and be more interested in asking, or you can also do further research, because even though DSM does talk about some syndromes, it doesn't include all of them. So, social work code of ethics. So 1.05, cultural competency in social diversity. It explains that social workers should understand culture and its function in human behavior in society, recognizing the strengths that exist in all culture. B, social workers should have a knowledge base of their client's culture and be able to demonstrate competency in the provision of services that are sensitive to clients' cultures and to differences among people and cultural groups. C, social workers should obtain education about and seek to understand the nature of social diversity and oppression with respect to race, ethnicity, national origin, color, sex, sexual orientation, age, marital status, political belief, religion, and mental or physical disability. So, social workers should understand individuals' culture and its function to social and human behavior by recognizing its strengths. Competent social workers will be able to know about the cultural language and communication styles in different cultural groups. Also, competent social workers should be able to know about the cultural language and communication styles and cultural groups. Interdisciplinary to curanderismo. A large variety of students are not informed physicians when they say curanderas and curanderos. The reason why it's because a lot of the Latino population describes symptoms in a different way. For example, that they feel hot or they feel cold. So for example, hot would be like if they have a cough, which is considered like a fever. So they're just afraid that they will not be able to understand them. Also, healthcare providers are not adequately being trained or accustomed to inquiring about the use of alternative therapies when taking histories from patients. So while during the intake, they're not adequately asking about the client's history, and they're leaving important information out. Social workers in hospital settings can really help care providers. For example, in this case, understanding the importance of curanderismo and understanding some of the terms, understanding the different variety of curanderismo. Although they do fall under the same umbrella of curanderismo, they're all different. They all practice different areas of healing. I had to speak about curanderismo with their patients. So instead of asking directly if they use the practice of curanderismo and generalizing, they could actually just ask if they use any remedies, if they have used any previous remedies in order to feel better. Curanderismo. So I would like for you to see this video. I feel like this video is very important. I feel like this video really demonstrates how curanderas treat their clients.
Tú vas a ver que muchas gentes presentan una tristeza profunda. Tú vas a ver que muchas gentes presentan una tristeza profunda, muchos se vuelven muy violentos, con una compulsión más fuerte por comer, por beber, por tomar medicamentos o drogas, un mal dormir, tienen migrañas, tienen dolores de cabeza, dolores de cuello muy fuertes, de espalda, pensamientos suicidas. Entonces, cuando tú tienes más de 2 o 3 de estos síntomas, eres candidato a tomar una sanación espiritual, porque tu campo de energía y tu sistema inmune en ese momento están débiles.
Before the healing, I just felt out of kilter, felt like something was off. Relationship was not working out. At work, I'm working very hard, but not really seeing the result of that. I thought something was missing. I started to pray and say, God, what is going on with me? I'm doing all that I know how to do.
Hay gente que sí, totalmente no tiene ese balance químico cerebral, ¿verdad? Y sí necesita medicamentos.
I've actually been, for about 9 months, I've been coming about once a month. So I did notice I used to get a lot of migraines and neck and back pain. That's gotten better. A lot of heart palpitations and anxiety. That's lifted. And I'm feeling just better than I have in many years. Mentally, emotionally, physically, in every way.
I can't. It's really hard to describe in words, but I've just been really, really happy and blessed. I am a little bit more enthusiastic about life since that healing.
Cuando las personas vienen aquí, lo que yo les pido es que sean lo más simple, ¿verdad? Que estén en su corazón y que de verdad quieran ellos dejar ir todas estas negatividades, todas estas preocupaciones, todos estos bloqueos, tristezas, angustias que estén cargando en el momento. Pero es muy importante también tu actitud, porque la sanación hace una parte, pero lo demás depende de ti. Este cuarto de sanación recibe a todos, independientemente de la religión que pudieras tener, de tu preferencia sexual, de tu raza, todos son bienvenidos, todos somos hijos de Dios, todos sufrimos, todos tenemos esa parte de sombra y esa parte de luz. Lo más importante es que esa persona se vuelva a reconectar con su par espiritual, con esa parte, ese amor que no muere en ella, que siempre está ahí, pero que se había olvidado de ella.
It's not that easy to learn about the spiritual that you can't see, but you know it's there. You can feel the effects.
Clearing away the layers of darkness, then it's in our most natural state, being connected to that light and love and joy for life. It's there, it's underneath all the layers.
So what I really liked about this video is because it demonstrates that curanderismo, in order to receive help from curanderas and curanderos, they have to show some symptoms. So at least two to three. And they don't just heal any individual for no reason. They have to have, they have to show symptoms. Also, this video demonstrated that even if they do all the healing, the clients have to actually want to change, involving themselves and trying to do different things to feel better. Also, this curanderas and curanderos treat any individual, that regardless of their ethnicity, race, sexual preference, doesn't matter. They will help anyone. The purpose of this video is for you to see the alternative form of receiving medicine. Not just the population Latino would use this, but will use this practice. This video demonstrated that any other race can use can benefit from curanderas and curanderos. So some of the similarities between social work and curanderismo. So there are both client-centered approach, and clients are involved. They are involved in the problem definition, the assessment, and the goal setting. Also, family members are involved. So homework assignments are also incorporated when doing the treatment phase. Both social workers and curanderas or curanderos know when to refer out, know that when it's outside their competency, they need to refer out. So for example, curanderas, if they know that cannot be able to help an individual with a general medical disorder, they can always refer out. They will refer to a physician. Assessment and treatment approaches with the Latino community. So first, understanding and respecting the client's culture. So culture, acculturation, language, empowerment, belief system. Just knowing more about the culture, knowing about their language, empowering them doing the treatment, and also belief systems. So for example, it involves understanding the level of disagreement and belief systems between the therapist and the clients. For example, at what extent does the client understand the mental illness, mental health, provider of care between and differs from the therapist. self-analysis of ratios, so motive, tendencies, biases, prejudice. So knowing if this is not your competency, like working with this population, then refer out not having any biases, like, or if you don't understand something, instead of assuming, just asking. Promotion, traditional psychotherapy, culturally integrative approach, including use of curanderismo. So if possible and appropriate, the traditional approach may include therapeutic approaches and techniques, which integrates the client's culture. Integrate curanderismo into counseling. So how can you integrate curanderismo when working with your client? So there are many ways, however, I'm going to focus on one today. So affirming relationships with loved ones. In the Latino culture, family is the most important unit. We also have to think about familismo, which includes 3 dimensions: structural, behavioral, and attitudinal. The behavioral dimension refers to the support shared among family members. So this means that in the Latino population, family is very supportive. If one is sick, then the family will be there to help them throughout the healing. Therapists working with the Latino community understand the concept of familismo and its influence on the well-being of Latinos. So incorporating families and friends to the healing process and the treatment will be very beneficial. This is one of their support system and will be able to help them during this stage. Conclusion. Social workers should be aware that Latino healing traditions include curanderismos. Knowing about the Latino language can promote proper diagnoses and improve therapeutic alliance. Social workers need to become more informed and sensitive to folk beliefs and practices in order to develop culturally appropriate health care interventions. And lastly, social workers who understand the practice of curanderismo are aware of personal biases and fears and integrate counseling skills with cultural values and beliefs are better equipped to assist clients. So knowing about curanderismo can really benefit when working with the Latino community. In conclusion, it's very important to know about curanderismo and the practice of curanderismo, the terms of curanderismo, so we can appropriately help a client within this community. Thank you for watching. Questions and comments were ordered for 5 minutes. I hope you find this informative and interesting. If you have any questions or comments, any feedback, I will attach another document with my email, and I will also attach the link for the video if you want to see it. Thank you. Also, here are my references. Thank you. Hope you have a good one.